Shadow. It is a black waterproof deck with gold foil. Look at those jokers. Certificate of Authenticity, 24 karat gold foil. Don't let that fool you into thinking this deck was expensive because it was like $7. Look at that. That Ace of Spades is gorgeous. And we've got the face cards. Anyways, the game we're going to be playing today is called Citadel, and it's a variant of Beleaguered Castle. There's two ways to play it. You can either play it with the aces starting on the foundation, or you can play it with the aces shuffled in the deck. We're going to be playing it both ways today. The way with the aces shuffled in the deck seems to be older. That's the rules you see in books usually, but the other way shows up in modern solitaire collections like World of Solitaire, Pysol, Pretty Good Solitaire. Those all use the rules that say the aces start on the foundation. So we're gonna try both. It's a little bit easier when you start the aces on the foundation. It's a little harder when they're in the deck. Anyways, the only difference between Beleaguered Castle and Citadel is the way the cards are dealt. And let's get into that right now. So we're gonna move the aces onto their foundations like this. And now we're gonna deal the layout as in Beleaguered Castle. But if we deal a card that can be moved to the foundations, we can do so. So we'll begin dealing, and we'll wait until we see a 2, and that's when the Citadel rules will kick in. There we go, the 2 of clubs. Now we can move the 2 of clubs straight to the foundation. Now we do not replace it. Instead, when we continue dealing, we move on to the next pile. And that's important, as you'll see when we're done dealing. We've got another 2. We add it to the foundation. Now we can't go back and add this 3 to the foundation. You can only add a card to the foundation as soon as it's dealt. You can't go back and add other cards until the deal is over. We've got the 3 of clubs. That can go to the foundation. Same with the 2 of hearts. Spades. Okay, so there are 2 consequences of dealing the cards this way. The first is that obviously we start with many cards on the foundation, which makes the game easier because now we don't have to dig those cards out. The other consequence is that the piles are now uneven. This one has 5, this one has 6, this one only has 3. So that also makes the game easier because it means that it's going to be easier to empty out a pile. And in Beleaguered Castle, the first thing you always want to do is empty out a pile. So it makes the beginning of the game a little bit more forgiving. Now besides that, the rules are exactly the same as Beleaguered Castle. If you want to hear the rules in more detail, I'll link my Beleaguered Castle video in the description, but I will go over everything you need to know just very quickly. So the goal of the game is to move all cards to the foundation piles in the middle. The foundations are built up from ace to king in suit. On the tableau, we stack in descending sequence regardless of suit. So any 3 can be placed on any 4, any jack can be placed on any queen. We can only move 1 card at a time, and only the top card in each pile may be moved. If we manage to empty out a pile by moving all of the cards out of it, we may place any card in the empty space. And that's all the rules, so let's get started and see if we can work out this first deal. Now the first thing I'm going to do is take this 3 of diamonds and move it to the foundation. Now this pile here only has 2 cards in it, and we can very easily get them out of here by just moving the 7 here to this 8, and then the 6 to the 7. So we've already got an empty pile. We basically started with 1, so that's good. Now let's take a look at where the other low cards are and see if we can start working towards them. We've got the 3 of spades right here, the 3 of hearts right here, and the 4 of clubs right here. Now I think the first thing I'm going to do is just move this 5 over here and grab this 3 of spades. We can grab this 4 of spades safely as well. Now I say that sometimes in my videos that it's safe to grab a card, and I realize that I've never explained it, so I'll just explain the logic behind that right now. So the lowest card on the foundation right now is a 2. That means it is safe to take any 3s and any 4s. The reason why it's safe is because any 3s on the board we can immediately move to the foundation. And the only reason why we would leave a 4 on the tableau would be so that we can move a 3 to it. But if 3s can go straight to the foundation, then we have no need to leave a 4 on the board, so we can take any 4 as well. That's what I mean when I say it's safe to take something. Of course, you can move a card to the foundation even if it's not safe. You just have to be more careful to make sure you're not accidentally putting yourself in a bad situation. But if it's safe to take a card, there's basically no downside to it. You can always do it. Now let's see if we can get some more of our low cards here. Okay, I think I see something we can do. Oh, wait. Not yet. My plan was going to be move this to the empty space, this queen to the king, grab the 4 to the foundation, and then I was going to move the 5, 6, and 7 to the foundation, but then I double-checked. This is not a 6 of clubs, this is a 6 of spades, so we could not do that. I wish we had a 9, because we could move this 8 to it, and then that would be a lot safer to go grab the 4, but unfortunately there are no good 9s available that I can see. This one's behind a king. Oh wait, move the king to the empty space, 8 to the 9, queen to king, 4 to foundation, but then we got nothing for this queen. And we could move the 7 to the 8 from here, but then we have nowhere for this 5. We don't have a 6 open. Well, actually, we can move this 5 to the foundation, because we'll have the 4. That would open this 6, then we can move the 5 to the 6. The other queen could go there, then the jack, but then we're stuck with this 9 and we don't have a 10 for it. Is there any way we could get a 10? No, we would need a 9 to put this. There's this 9, but once we move the 8 on it, we can't move it back out. The empty space is going to be filled by the king, queen, jack. This is a little tough. We got such an easy start, but I'm not sure where we go from here. I'm sure there's probably a way. I just need to look harder. Okay, I think I see something. We move the 8 to the empty space, the queen to the king, 4 to the foundation, 5 to the foundation, 7 to the 8, 5 to the 6. Then this queen goes to the king, jack goes to the king, then we move the 8 back up to the 9. That gets us some cards to the foundation, sorts out some piles, and we keep our empty space. So let's try it. So, queen to the king, 7 to the 8, 4 to the foundation, 5 to the foundation. That opens up the 6 where we can move the 5. This queen and then jack go here, and then we move the 9 back to the 8. Okay, well, that made us a little bit of progress. I don't know how much that's actually going to help, but that was the only move forward that I could see. I looked pretty hard and I couldn't find anything else, so. Okay, I see another way forward. I'm not sure where it leads. I haven't planned everything out fully, but I'm not sure where else to go at this point. Alright, now what if we do this? We put the 6 and 5 over here, and then this 7 can go here. Now can we do anything? I was hoping we could get to this 6 and use it to move the 9, the 5 maybe, to get to the 3, but I don't know if that's going to work. I didn't fully think that part out. I spent so long thinking about previous move that I really didn't feel like going into another long think for that, so I kind of just went forward without thinking too hard. That might cost me. I really want this 3 of hearts. I want it so bad, but I don't know how to get to it. I need to get this 5 to a 6. And then we... hang on. Okay, hang on a minute. Let's move this 6 and the 5 here. This 7 to the 8, and now we move this 8 and 9 to the 10 over here, and now we have 2 empty spaces. Awesome. Okay. I didn't think about that. But that might be what we need. Okay. Now we move this 5 to the empty space, and then the queen to the empty space. Now this 10 goes to the jack. The 3 of hearts finally goes to the foundation. 6 goes to the 7, and the 9 goes on to the 10. Okay, we lost one of our empty spaces, but we got the 3 of hearts, and now we can take the 4 and 5 of hearts. Our lowest card is a 3, so that means it's safe to go up to 5. Now we need the 4 of diamonds, which is all the way down here. Now this might be the hard part. We're probably going to have to move some unsafe cards to the foundation. Oh, we can move this 5 to here. I was missing the obvious move. Okay, so we do have 2 empty spaces. Let's do this. We'll move the 8 here. Then we'll move the 9, 10, and jack to this queen right here. Now we'll move this queen to an empty space and the king to an empty space. Move the queen back over. Okay, so I think what we want to do next is 9 to the empty space, jack to the queen. Take the 4 of diamonds to the foundation, move this jack here, and the 7 can go to the 8. So now we've got a space back, we've got more cards on the foundation, we can stack up a little. We still need to get to this 5 of spades. It's safe to go up to 6, so let's do that. Although it seems like we can only do that with the clubs right now. The 6 of hearts is all the way over here. We can get the 6 of diamonds by doing this. I don't know if that actually helps. Let's do this. We'll move the 8 and 7 over to this 9. Now we can move the queen and jack onto the king. That gets us another empty space. Let's do this. We're going to move the 6 to here. Then we're going to move this 7 of clubs to the foundation. We're also going to move the 7 of diamonds to the foundation. Now we move the 7 of hearts onto this 8, the 8 of clubs to the foundation. Now we'll move the 9 and the 10 to one of these jacks, and we'll move the 8 to that. Alright, it's actually looking like we managed to win this. I was pretty skeptical. There was a while where I thought we might have been blocked, but we managed to pull it out. Oh, I'm so happy. That was looking pretty grim for a while, but I think we managed it. So let's move the 7 here. 8 can go to the foundation, 9 can go to the foundation, 10 to the jack, and we'll move like this, I think. Okay. 9 to the 10, 10 to the jack, and now we win. Nice. So that was our first game of the Citadel. As you can see, it's very similar to Beleaguered Castle. The main difference is that the beginning is easier, which means that you don't get those Beleaguered Castle situations where you start and then you just can't go anywhere. Well, I shouldn't say you don't get those, because you still do get those situations, but they happen a lot less. So, if you find that aspect of Beleaguered Castle frustrating, you might enjoy this game. Alright, so let's see if I can actually do the fan thing with these plastic cards. It's actually a lot harder. That was okay. Not great. So we've got all the clubs, all the hearts, all the diamonds, and all the spades. So let's take out the aces and begin shuffling up for game number 2. And once again, we're going to start with the aces on the foundation for this next game. Then after that, we'll start shuffling the aces into the deck. recent videos. It was a nice comment. They said they liked the video, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But they also asked about why my old videos were in stereo and my recent videos are in mono. And that's because in my old videos I was recording with the microphone on my phone, but the quality was really bad. It was in stereo, but the quality was bad. So instead I switched to using a microphone, and ever since then it sounds a lot better, but now it's in mono. So yeah, I recognize that as a downgrade a bit. So I ordered a new microphone that records in stereo, and it has not arrived yet. So this video is still going to be in mono, but the next video should be in stereo. So that should be fixed. Let's deal our second game. I'm curious how the new mic is going to sound. I did a bit of research to try to find a stereo microphone that was in my price range. My price range being cheap, because I don't have that much money, and this is just a hobby for me, so I can't afford to drop hundreds of dollars on a really good microphone. But I found one that was like about $50, has stereo, and had pretty good reviews. It's called the JLab Talk Pro, and so that should be arriving later this week, and then I will see how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't sound worse than this one, but I have a feeling it's going to sound better. This is a pretty old microphone. It's the Blue Snowball. It's just what I had lying around. I used to use it for gaming, but now I just use it for this. I don't really play multiplayer games much anymore. They're just not really my thing. They stress me out. If it's a team game, I feel like I'm gonna ruin it for my teammates. And if it's a one-on-one game, then I just get really stressed out. So I don't play much multiplayer gaming anymore. Alright, so let's see what we have. We have a short pile here, and let's take a look at those and see if we have any options for moving forward. We can move this 9 to the 10, and the 5 could go to the 6, but we need a king for this queen. Can we get to 1? Well, we would have to move the 6 to the 7 to free. No, that's not going to work. We don't have an 8 for this 7. Okay, what about this pile, though? We run into the same problem. We would need a king to move either of these queens, and I don't see a way to get to 1. We would need an 8 to get to either of these queens, and I don't see a convenient 8. Well, wait, there is this one. We could 10 to jack, 9 to 10. That reveals the 8. Let's say we do 7 to 8, and then... And no, it's still not going to work because we can move either of these 7s over to the 8. For this one, we would need to move the jack, which means we need a queen. Well, we could move this and get the queen, actually. Okay, hang on, let's kind of plan this out a little bit. We do 10 to jack, 9 to 10. Then we do 9 to this 10. Then we move 7 to the 8. We move 6 to the 7, and then jack to queen. That reveals the king. And we do queen to king. And then I just realized we don't have anywhere. Oh wait, no, the 4 can go to the 5. Okay, I think that works. Let's try it. Hopefully I'm not miscalculating something. Something in the back of my brain is telling me that I did. So I have a feeling I'm not going to be happy by the time we finish this line. But we'll see. Oh no, it actually did work. Okay, nice, we got an empty pile. Now, let's look for our low cards and how we want to move forward. 3 of clubs is right here. Where's the 3 of diamonds? It's right here. Okay, so I think I know what I want to do first. We're gonna move this 8 and 7 onto this 9. Move this 6 onto the 7. Now we'll move this queen and jack onto the king. And the 3 of clubs can go to the foundation. And then the 5 can go onto the 6. And now we've got our 2 empty spaces. Now we need to get to this 3 of diamonds. Okay, I've got a plan. We move this 9 and 10 onto the jack. Now we move the 7 to the empty space, the 6 onto the 7. 3 of diamonds goes to the foundation, 8 goes to the 9, and now we can move the 6 and 7 onto the 8. And let's move this jack onto the queen. Now we've got 3 empty spaces and plenty of foundation cards. It's safe to go up to 5, so let's do that. Where's our 4 of spades? It's right here. Let's just get it right now. Alright. Wait, that was the 4 of spades, not the 4 of clubs. I put it on the wrong pile. My bad. Okay. Now we need the 4 of hearts, which is down here. And I think to get to it, we're going to have to do a bit of digging. I think I'm going to make some unsafe moves to the foundation to make this possible. So we'll put the 6 of clubs, then the 7 of clubs. Now we'll move this 8 and 9 here onto the 10. This 10 and jack can go onto the queen. That reveals the 6 of diamonds, which you can move to the foundation. We move the 9 to the 10. The 4 and 5 of hearts can go to the foundation. And this is looking pretty good. Alright, 6 to the foundation, and we can stack up 7, 8. That 7 of diamonds is what I think we want to go for next. We'll move this 8. Let's just move it to the foundation. I don't think that's going to be a problem. 10 and jack can go onto this queen. Now we move the king and these 2 kings and the queen. That gets us the 9 and the 7, and I think we've won. The only weird thing is this 8 of diamonds, but we can just move this stuff off into all the empty space we have. When you have so much empty space, it's just, everything is kind of easy, but you can actually let yourself get a little too confident when that happens. So you don't necessarily want to do what I just did and say, oh, I have so much empty space, I'm just going to make moves without thinking. Because that can actually get you into some pretty bad situations. It's definitely gotten me into some bad situations, so do as I say, not as I do. But that is game 2 of Citadel done. And we won both of them. So now we're going to move on to playing it the harder way, where the aces are going to be shuffled into the deck. Everything else works exactly the same. The only difference is that those aces don't start on the foundation. Okay, so let's just start shuffling. No need to remove the aces. So, in the Beleaguered Castle video, I said the win rate for that game is 68% for a solver and around 30% for the average human. In this game, I don't know what the win rate is like for a solver. I don't think I've ever seen that statistic. I don't know if it's been tested, and if it has, I haven't seen it. But I did hear that this game has about a 50% win rate for a person. So up from the approximately 30% from Beleaguered Castle. So it is slightly easier, but it's not absurdly easier, so you shouldn't necessarily expect to win every single game just because it's a little easier than Beleaguered Castle. You're still gonna lose. I'm probably still gonna lose in this video. So we're 2 for 2 right now, but there's basically no chance that I win all 4 of them. Alright, let's start dealing. And we're looking for those aces early. We got 1. We're looking for aces, and we're looking to not get the twos until we've gotten the aces. We already got one of the twos, so... Okay, we got the two of hearts after getting the ace of hearts. That's good. The ace of clubs. Nice, we're getting a pretty good deal here. This is a very good deal. Wow. Usually when I do it with the aces shuffled into the deck, I get horrible luck during this part, but it's going really well this time. Wow. The only foundation we're not going to get extra cards on is the ace of spades. Alright, these are very messy. Let me try to straighten these out a little bit. We also got an extremely short pile that is like brainless to empty out. Wow. And we get the 3. This is a great deal. Okay, where do we go from here? 4 of clubs is here. 4 of diamonds is here. And the 4 of spades is where? Why can't I find it? It's right here. So the 4 of spades is behind a king. So I'm going to need 2 empty piles before I go for it. Honestly, we could probably get this pile right now. Actually, do we have a 9 where... it's tricky because we want one of these 9s, but we need to move the 6 to the 7 to get to the king, and that means we can't get to the 9s, so let's see how we do this. Oh, I think I know how. So we move the 6 to the 7, queen to the king, then we just move the 7 and the 6 to the 8, like this. I don't know why that was hard to figure out for me. Oh wait, but now we don't get the pile. That was the whole point. Okay, well, I'm silly. Is there a way we can still make this work? I don't think there is. We would need another 8, I think. And I don't see one that's readily available. Okay, well, let's forget about this for now, and instead work on looking at some other piles. Oh, there is something we might be able to do, actually. Let's move this jack in 10 to this queen. Now we move this 6 over to this 7. Now we can move the 9 to the 10, and the 8 and 7 can go onto this 9. Now we've got the jack, which can be moved to the queen, and look at that, we've got 2 empty spaces now. That's good. However, we are kind of burying our low cards even more. Let's move this 6 onto the 7. This will go to the empty pile. We move the 10 to the jack, and we take the 4 of diamonds. We keep our 2 piles, but we get an extra card to the foundation. Where's the 5 of diamonds? It's in here. I think this is the next pile we want to go for, even though it looks like a huge pain. Where's the 6 of hearts? Why can't I find it? Oh, it's here. Okay, let's do this. We move the 6 to the 7. Jack goes to the empty space. Move the 8 to the 9. And now we take the 6 of hearts. Now let's move the 5 to the 6. And now we move the jack and the 10 over here. And now we've got 3 empty spaces. And now I think I'm ready to tackle this. So let's do this. 10 and jack. Then we move the king and queen. And now we can move the 10 and jack over. 3 empty spaces was exactly what we needed. Now we take the 4 of spades, the 5 of diamonds, all of our rewards, 6, 7 of diamonds. Let's move this 8 to the empty pile for now, then we take the 8 of diamonds. This 9 can go to the 10 and then the 8 onto that. Alright, I think the next thing we want to do is get down here so we can get the 4 and 5 of clubs. We let the clubs fall really far behind. I really hope I'm not going to regret that. Let's start by moving the 9 and 10 over here. Now we'll move the king, queen, and jack over to this king right here. This king can go to an empty space, and now we get our 4 and 5 of clubs. Let's take these 5, 6, 7 of spades. Now we need to get down this pile. Let's move this 7 of clubs onto the 8 to free up that spot. We'll move the 9 and the 10 onto, or sorry, the 9 and the 8 onto the 10 right here. We'll move the queen, jack, and 10 onto this king right here. Now let's move the queen and the jack like this. And we get the 7 of hearts, the 6 of clubs, and it looks like we have won. So, very nice. 3 wins in a row. Here's the thing, I said there's no way we win 4 in a row, but this game loves to make me look stupid when I say stuff like that, so at this point I would not be surprised if I won all 4, specifically because I said I wouldn't. That's why it's gonna happen. But now that I said I would, now maybe it's not gonna happen. Got an extremely lucky deal that time, so that's the whole reason why that ended up going so smoothly. Alright, let's shuffle up for our last game. Oh, I'm also recording in 60 FPS this time. I don't know why, I just thought it might look cooler if it was smoother. So, if you like the smooth 60, let me know. It takes up more file space on my phone, but I just have to make sure I clear out all my old recordings before I start. By the way, you're probably going to see this deck come back again in my next video because I bought 2 of them and I was planning to do a 2-deck game for my next video. So we're going to be using 2 of these. I think that'll be fun. It's a gorgeous deck, so I'm glad to be using it some more. Okay, one more riffle. I'm trying to spend less time in shuffling. In some of my early videos, I shuffle for way too long, I think. So, ooh, look at that. First card out is an ace. Second card out, third card out is an ace. This is a pretty good start. Are we going to get really lucky in the deals? Like I said, usually when I shuffle the aces in, I get really horrible luck in the deals. But we're actually getting some decent luck this time around. This is like... You have no idea how many times I've tried to record this video. I've just been having so many issues with video, with noise, I've been like constantly trying to record this video for the past 3 days and it just problems keep popping up. So I'm hoping this is the one. I'm praying to God that I put this video in my video editor and there is not something horribly wrong with the video that makes me need to re-record it again. Because that's what's happened like 4 times now. This is what a more average Citadel deal looks like. We only got 2 extra cards to the foundation. This is more typical. Let's see what we can do. This is not one of the short piles, but this is actually the one I'm looking at right now, and it actually looks like the one we want to do. It's got 3 10s in it, but we've got 3 jacks. We get the 2 of diamonds as well. Alright, let's do that. I guess I'll put the 9 on this one, but I mean, the way it works out, I can just move the 9 to one of the other jacks if I want anyways. Alright, so where are our low cards? Where's the 2 of spades? 2 of spades is here. 3 of spades is also in that pile. Do we want to go for this pile? We don't have a king for the queen. Not immediately anyways. If we had a 7, maybe we could go for this pile, but we would also need another 5 for the other 4. Let's do this pile. We won't get an extra empty space out of it, but we will get some cards on the foundation. Okay. Now, how about that 3 of hearts? We've got the 3 of diamonds here, 3 of clubs here, 3 of hearts here. All 3 of them are pretty deep. I wish we could get to one of these kings. We've got all these. I actually think we might have screwed up. I don't know how we get past any of these jack 10s, these jack 10 9s. Oh yeah, I think we screwed up. I think maybe we should have tried one of the other piles. This one doesn't look like it's gonna work out. Okay, so we can't get the jack 10 9, jack 10 9, jack 10 9. We can't get any of those to the queens. We would need an extra empty space. We can move this 8 to one of the 9s, and then we can move the 9 to the empty space, but this 6 can't go anywhere. We don't have any 7s. And then this 4 and 5, we don't have any 6s for them to go. The 4 can't go anywhere. There's no 5s. Well, actually, hang on. No, we can't do that. We can move the 9 to an 8, but then the 9 fills the empty space. Now we can't get the 5 and the 6, or the 4 and the 5 over to the 6, because we need the empty space to do that. Let's see, we move the queen to the empty space, but this 4 of clubs gets us nowhere. We can't move it to the foundation, and we don't have a 5 for it. I think we're blocked on this one. Yeah, I don't see any moves. Well, as always, if you see a move that I missed, let me know. I'm always looking to improve at this game, so anytime someone has some tips, I'm always glad to take them. If you know which pile I should have gone for at the beginning instead of so overzealously going for that one with the 3 10s in it, I'm sure one of the others would have been a better option. So, but I think that's going to be it for me for tonight. I hope you enjoyed Citadel. Like I said, easier version of Beleaguered Castle might be more up your alley if you think Beleaguered Castle is just a bit too tough. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you later.